Yeah, good evening. So last session we discussed about how we can work with custom hooks. You tried those hooks? I asked you to try sorting sentence case like hooks. Anyone tried? Hmm? You need to practice, right? If you can try, then you will have more perfection on what you are learning. No one tried those. So able to achieve successfully, you at least got idea how to design. I given two options: sorting, another one sentence case. Sentence case. So you got at least idea how they are designed. Means logic. Actually, the logic I will give here simple. If you get the logic, then you can design the hook easily. CAPTCHA I showed you, right? So logic means, for suppose, see, what I asked you to do is to create one hook which can change the capitalization. So how? Suppose we have a function. I'm just giving logic. So function is sentence case. That means sentence case is our hook name. What it have to do is it have to take the string and it convert that string into sentence case. Then we have to take first character of that sentence. How to take first character of the sentence? How to take the first character of the sentence? str dot char at 0. That will return the first character in sentence. How to return all other characters, rest characters, from 1 all? How to use str dot substring. From 1 it will read up to end. End can be anything, right? Now what we have to do, we have to create sentence. What this sentence will be, first character will convert to upper case, plus rest characters will be converted to lower case. Lower case. After that, it should return that sentence. That means now I have some sentence. That means where some text. This is suppose like welcome to some JavaScript. Like this, uneven is there toggled. Now I'm using document.write. We have to get the hook called sentence case. Into that we have to pass the text. If I directly print the text, understand? I am directly printing the text. I am directly printing the text. In the next line, I am using the hook. That means now what it will do is, directly you are printing, then it will display like this. And this hook is converting into sentence case. This is what you have to implement as a logic for creating a sentence case hook. How about sorting hook? This is the logic of sentence case. Sorting is nothing but, so we have to create a function sorting. This will take a list, and what it will do, it will Sort, that means list dot sort. List dot sort is a array function. Sort is an array function. That means now what we have to do, so for where item of list, and we are printing the item, document dot write, we are printing the item in a new line. Suppose now here I am using sorting. In the sorting I am passing values. Suppose D, C, B. So here A, B, like this we are passing some list. Then what it will do? It will print in order. Sorting is the function. We have to print in a printing. It is sorting. What is coming? I think it is returning the list. Sort is not a function, right? So this, acha, I given rest parameters. I will keep dot dot dot. That is rest parameter, right? Now it have to print those values in order. That means you pass the values, it will print in order. That is sorting. You have to design hook with this kind of logics, right? So you must be very perfect in JavaScript functions, string functions, date functions, math functions, array functions. These are very important in creating such hooks. String formatting functions, math functions, date functions. These all are very important in JavaScript to handle these kind of hooks, formatting, filtering, sorting. All such activities are designed using this. So this is, you try now. You try to create those hooks. Just logic I showed you here. So now, once we know this, today we will see how React is used with API. That means working with APIs in React. Working with APIs in React. This is very major and key point. Suppose if anybody asked what is the role of a React developer in a real-time project? What is the role of a React developer in a real-time project? Huh? So, what is the role? What is the role of React developer? Come on, it will be like joke. You are learning React and you don't know what is your role. Better you say not single page. So building effective user interfaces. Obviously you will not build single page application. Project is not one man show, na? Right? So you will be building effective user interfaces. You will not say that I will do a project. You will be a member in that project, right? Your role is building effective interfaces. React purpose is that React is a library for building user interfaces, right? Your role as a React developer is building interfaces. What are responsibilities? What are the responsibilities of a React developer? Your role is building interfaces. In building interfaces, what you will do? What is your responsibility? What is your responsibility? What you have to design? That is the responsibility. That means responsibilities of React developer is designing reusable components. You have to design components. So designing services. So you have to design reusable components. You have to design services. Services are hooks, right? And consuming services. Not only designing services, consuming services, right? So that means another option is your role will be in and integration. That means you can say interacting with the API. That means you have to define communication with API, but better say communication with the API. Right? That means fetching, interacting with API, posting, editing, updating, deleting. That is the main responsibility. That means, so the key responsibilities, several others are there. Several others are nothing but so form validations, right? Creating forms validations. These are all part of your responsibilities, right? Because why I said form validation, because somebody designed a form, you are implementing validation services into them. Because large scale projects, you will not design form and validation. You may be working in validations. You may be designing the forms. That means configuring forms for various modules. Configuring forms for various modules, handling validation in the forms, implementing techniques like routing techniques, implementing. In large scale projects, these responsibilities will be there. That is API. End user integration is API only. Communicating with API is end user communication. That's what we will see now. API, what is that, right? So these are the major responsibilities of React developers, and so many other things will be there. Generally, handling security issues in application. This I will tell you later at the end. Security issues means now some people's responsibility is security, application security. Yeah, application security means generally security means people think register, login. No, that is not security. That is authentication. Authentication and authorization is login, registers. These are authorization and authentication. Handling security is nothing but handling cross-site scripting attacks, right? XSS, cross-site scripting attacks, and request forgery, injection attacks, various types of injection attacks we call injection attacks, request forgeries, CORS issues, cross-origin resource sharing issues. This all comes under security, right? We have to handle all these things. Preventing an application from crash, from hackers, that requires a lot of this. So cross-site scripting attacks, request forgeries, injection attack, CORS All these are very important things. Sometimes if you show as a senior developer, that means you say that I am a senior developer with a lot of experience behind. Then in interviews they may ask like, so how to prevent request forgery? First you should know what is a request forgery. Then you can, every web application have to handle request forgery. Every web application have to handle injection attacks, compulsory. Whether it may be Angular, React, Java, .NET, PHP, Python, front end, any server side, client side, these are compulsory, mandatory. If you are not addressing these issues, so then your application can be hacked. Your application may crash, right? You may never heard about them. Even you are a developer sometimes. Obviously, I think majority of you developers already working in companies knows, but some people may not in the beginning days, because there will be separate people who are doing this in the projects. Some experienced people are working on it. You are not doing that. Some experienced people are managing this, and your role is only interface designing and all. That's the reason you worked for 2 years, 3 years, but still you don't know what is request forgeries and all. Not necessary that you have to know, right? But an experienced person have idea on all these things. He knows that an application must have all these preventions, right? These are the responsibilities of React developer. That means now these type of things will go into your resume when you mention a project. Then according to that, questions will be asked. That means you will say that these were my responsibilities. Then he will ask, okay, you configured forms, which form library you used? Why you used that form library? Okay, you worked in validations, which validation service you use? Right? How to handle, he will ask questions on validation. Many people come and ask like, sir, can you give experience interview questions answers? It is nothing like that. Experienced people's interview will be on their resume. Majority, 80%. In resume, what projects they mentioned, what role responsibilities they mentioned, out of that only questions asked. That means you tell that I done this project, these are my responsibilities in that project, those only they will ask. They will not ask anything extra also. Until or unless they are not satisfied with your answers according to your resume. That means you are doing good. So you are answering everything perfectly what you mentioned in resume. Then he wants to test, okay, do you have any more knowledge? Then he will ask some outside points. Otherwise, majority interview happens on this part. So you need to be perfect in that. So we learned how to create reusable components. We learned how to design services. We learned how to consume services. Consume is dependency injection, I told you. How to inject a service, how to use a service in the application. We need a provider and we need an injector. We learned forms, configuring forms and validations. Right? Now we are going to learn communication with API. Right? We will see how it happens. I will show complete end-to-end integration with the database, server-side technology, everything. Right? And here I will take example of Merge stack. Merge stack. That means MongoDB database, Node.js server, and Express middleware, and React in the front end. And later, if you have learned .NET, Java, or PHP, Python like technologies, in the backend you can use MySQL, Oracle databases, SQL Server. You can use your middlewares and server side JSP, PHP, .NET, ASP.NET, and in the front end React. Right? We can handle that. So I will show you the Merge stack, how we have to handle. So this is the very important part in our course. because this is the major responsibility in real-time projects, right? Handling end-to-end integration, designing an application for that. So for that, first you need to understand here the API concept. So APIs, working with APIs. For that, first you need to know, in order to understand API, what is an API? Not full form. What is an API? API is also a service. API is a service, but I will tell you what this service is actually. That means, so technically what that service is, I will tell you. Actually, to understand API, you need to know a concept called, so first you need to understand what is distributed computing. What is distributed computing? To understand APIs, to work with APIs in any technology, you should know what is distributed computing. Actually, distributed computing is nothing but distributed computing is two applications running on two different machines can share information. Distributed computing is an architecture. Distributed computing architecture actually. Distributed computing is an architecture where two applications running in two different machines can share information between them, or two applications running on same machine in two different process can share information. Two applications on same machine in two different process can share information. This is actually distributed computing. Distributed computing means, you see here, simple. Actually, we have an application. So this is client and this is server. That means here we have two applications. Here this is server and this is client. So we have server and client. Now here on server, you have an app. Now generally what we are doing is we are accessing this app and using in our client machine using a browser. Am I right? That means what you are doing, you are opening browser. Through browser, you are requesting that app and you are using it. This is called web application. Web application. That means, for example, I want to watch Netflix videos. Then what I will do, I will open browser. Here I will open netflix.in and here I can sign in into Netflix account and I can watch. This is Netflix web application. But this web application has certain limitations. Like suppose I watched a video. I want to download that video and watch later. Not possible. Not possible here. But Netflix have the facility of downloading and watching the video offline. But it is not possible here because it is a web app. So what we do is we give an application to the client. We will give an application to the client. That means this is Netflix app. This Netflix app is connected to the Netflix app on server. Now what happens? You don't need to open browser. You have to just open this app. This app will communicate with another app running on server and it will get the information. What is special about this? Why you are using an app? The specialty about app is it can keep some data offline for you. You can download the videos, you can watch the videos offline. This is not available in web. So this app is called distributed application. That means if I ask you, tell me about some mobile apps that you have in your mobile. Give me the list of some mobile apps that you have in your mobile. Flipkart, Amazon, Swiggy, Zomato, WhatsApp, Skype, all these are not mobile apps. They are distributed applications. They are distributed applications. Mobile apps means mobile native. That means camera, calculator, calendar, phone book. These are mobile apps. Suppose you downloaded a tutorial, you downloaded a game which you can play, you can watch without any internet connection. That is a mobile app. But if any application is asking for internet connection, that is not mobile app, that is distributed. Understood? That is distributed computing architecture. In distributed computing architecture, two applications running on two different machines can share information. Facebook app, YouTube app, Amazon app, Zomato app, Swiggy app, WhatsApp app. WhatsApp also have web app, na? WhatsApp is also having web, right? That means technically distributed application, two applications sharing information between them. This is on two different machines. This is one concept. Distributed computing, not only that, in one machine, two applications can share information between them. In one machine, two applications can share information between them. For example, you are using a bank app in your device, and that bank app sends an OTP, and your Amazon app reads that OTP, right? You are making payment, right? UPI payment, suppose. So through Swiggy, you made an UPI payment. Then that UPI app will open, and it will share this Swiggy app will share information with another app running on the same machine, saying that this app wants to send you some information. That means payment initiated. You pay. Again, the confirmation is sent to the app. Two apps running on same machine in two different process also can share information. That is distributed computing. Distributed computing is about applications sharing information between them. Whether they may be two applications running on same machine or two applications running on different machines. This is called distributed computing. So second point, so what are actually, that means what are the popular distributed computing technologies. What are the popular distributed computing technologies used by software engineers? In software development, what are the popular distributed computing technologies? So many are there, like Corba, like DCOM, like RMI, so EJB, like web services, like remoting. All these comes under distributed computing technologies. These are the popular distributed computing technologies in software development. So Corba, DCOM, RMI, EJB, so and web services, remoting. Corba is Common Object Request Broken Architecture. It is available for more than 14 languages, including C++ like. That means C++ like languages, if they want to develop distributed applications, they use this Corba. We have like DCOM, Distribute Component Object Model. It is used by Microsoft Technologies, uses DCOM. RMI, Remote Method Invocation, it is used by Java. EJB, Enterprise Java Beans, it is also used by Sun Microsystems, Java. Web services, this is distributed computing, which is known to every technology. Every technology in the world knows web services, uses web services. Others are not for all technologies. Web services is one for Java, .NET, PHP, Python, anything. Everybody can use web services. Remoting is for .NET. .NET uses a distributed technology called remoting. These are various distributed computing architectures. Distributed computing technologies. Web API, yeah. Distributed computing, these are all things you don't need. I'll just give you the definition. Yeah. This is distributed computing. Distributed computing allows the communication between two applications running on two different machines in a network, or allows communication between two objects running in two different processes also. That is distributed computing. And so many distributed computing architectures are there. These are distributed computing technologies: Corba, DCOM, RMI, EJB, web services, remoting. Corba is actually common object request broken architecture, invented by OMG Group in 1992, and it is used in more than 14 languages. And we have DCOM, Distribute Component Object Model. It is invented by Microsoft. It is used in languages like VB, Visual Basic. We have RMI, Remote Method Invocation, invented by Sun Microsystems, used in J2EE. We have like EJB, Enterprise Java Beans. It is used in Java. And we have web services. It is known to all technologies. So PHP, Java, .NET, everyone, Java, .NET, everyone can use this. Web services, invented by W3C. And remoting is related to .NET, Microsoft. These are distributed computing architectures. So distributed applications are these. That is how they work. I will not go very much in depth about this because there is a lot of thing in depth about APIs. I will give you what is necessary to understand in React, right? That's because these topics are very complex, very huge, with a lot of content inside them. And these are required for people who are specially working on APIs. These all we teach for people working on APIs, right? Our role is not working on API. Our role is consuming APIs, interacting with that. So the point here is these are distributed computing points. That presentation I will upload into class for your understanding sake. These are various distributed computing technologies. Now, very important is actually distributed computing technologies. That means web services. Web services understandable to everybody. Web services understandable to every technology. Actually, web service have specifications. Actually, how they communicate. That means communication specifications. Actually, we call as communication specifications. There are three communication specifications actually. Three communication specifications are there. One is SOAP, another one is REST, another one is JSON. There are three communication specifications. How communication happens? Actually, you have to know that every API means every application interface actually it comprises of, that means API uses distributed computing architecture, right? API uses distributed computing architecture. It uses a distributed computing architecture. And very important, you should know that in API comprises of one is service consumer and service provider. And very important is the communication. So here very important, API communication between consumer and provider is managed in three ways. That is what these are. One is SOAP, another one REST, another one JSON. What is SOAP? Actually, SOAP is nothing but service oriented architecture protocol. Service oriented architecture protocol, SOAP. In SOAP, what happens is consumer, so that means service consumer will make an XML request. Consumer will make an XML request, and provider will send an XML response. That means the request and response will be in XML form. That means consumer says, I want this, and that request will come in the form of XML. So that means, for example, so consumer wants, that means here, for example, so request from consumer will be like this. It will be like, it is in XML form. Then it will be like, suppose this is product. So product is an object. Yeah, product. In that product, we have an ID. So ID is 2. That is the ID. That means this is how actually XML looks like. That means what they are requesting. They are requesting a product. So with ID 2. Then what happens is the response will be in XML form. That means product with have an ID is 2, and it will have some name as TV, right? And it has some price is some price. So these details are sent as a response to the client. I requested second product, it sent second product details. The request and response will be in XML form. That is SOAP. These days we don't use this anymore much, right? These days we are not using any SOAP oriented requests everywhere. Of course they are there still, right? So earlier we have to depend on a lot of this XML, right? So another important is the second one is REST. REST, that's what generally people call as RESTful services. They call RESTful services. In REST as actually representational state transfer. REST is representational state transfer. In actually REST, consumer will make query request. Will make a query request, and provider will respond with XML and optionally JSON, but primary is XML. That means what happens here in REST, what happens is request will be a query request, http:// right? So fake store API, right? Fake store API.com/products/2. This is request, query request. Actually, this is advanced actually. In general, it will be like products/ID is equal to 1. This is how request will be, query request actually. Now the response will be again in the same format. Understood? The response will be in XML. The request is a simple query request and the response will be in XML. It will be in XML. That is what REST. Now these days, all technologies are using JSON. JSON, that means JavaScript object notation. You saw even NASA data. It was not XML data. It is JSON. You saw Fake Store. You saw NASA's data APIs. They are written in JSON. Earlier, few years back, a lot of data was in XML. Everything comes in XML. Now JSON. JSON is more lightweight. It is native to browsers. It is easy for browsers to read. It is secured. It can flow through firewalls. These are all very important features about JSON. In JSON, what happens? Consumer makes JSON request and the provider will respond with JSON. Request will be JSON, response also will be JSON. That means request will be like this. It will be like ID as 2 and response will be same. Response will be like, so ID is 2 and we have like name as TV like this. We have like price. So that is how the response comes. Response is like this. This is request and response. So we have a SOAP, we have a REST, and we have JSON. These are actually the service specifications, web service specifications. These are web service specifications. So you see, this is these are all not required for you. Yeah. These are web service specifications. These are the specifications. SOAP, REST, and JSON. In SOAP, service oriented architecture protocol, actually it uses the languages like WSDL, UDI. WSDL is web service descriptive language actually. So, and UDI, universal description, discovery and integration. These are the languages used actually. And this is how the consumer and provider will be. That means service consumer will make an XML request. Service provider will send an XML response. So this is consumer and this is provider. The request and response will be in XML format, in an XML form. And we have REST, representational state transfer. It is less verbose. Verbose means lightweight, very lightweight format. And very important, here the request will be a simple query request. And the response will be in the form of an XML. So now we have JSON, JavaScript object notation. Here the request will be in JSON form, response also will be in JSON form. These are web service specifications, right? So now what we have to do is we need to design these two endpoints. We have to create the two endpoints. One endpoint will is provider. Another endpoint consumer. That means now we have to design endpoints. Endpoints. One is provider. For provider, it uses MongoDB as a database. It uses Node.js as server and API. For server, for API we will use Express. Express will create API methods, so application interface. And this is provider. And we have a consumer. Consumer is using React. So React is about user interfaces. And in React, consumer, what it will do? So in React, consumer will use fetch promise. consumer will use jQuery, Ajax methods, right? Consumer can use Axios. Consumer can use what WG fetch. So many are there, third parties. So it can use this to consume or to communicate. One endpoint is provider, another endpoint is consumer. Right? We need to design this now. We need to design this. Means already I showed you fetch. And we worked with some APIs designed by somebody. Let's design our own API now. We will create our own API and we will see how we can manage this. Right? So technically, so how we can create these two endpoints, we will see. For that, we will first set up. Remember, I am not teaching database and server-side technologies to you. I will just give an overview, which is enough for your practice, because people have to learn databases, server-side technologies individual. I am giving just an overview. This overview is enough for your practicing. You can practice this. Actually, majority of React people, when they learn internal JSON servers, right? JSON server means they install on JSON server. There they can store data, fetch data by using API methods and all. We will do in a better way, right? Okay, JSON server is okay, but we will have a complete picture of endpoints. Complete picture of endpoints. That means the real APIs, how they come, how they work, instead of using JWT tokens and all these. We will do better than that, right? That means we can create a simple database and you don't need to learn much. Simple options are enough. So first, what you have to do is and database is MongoDB database. We will first create a database and we will keep it ready. First step. So that means what we have to do, I will show you a client diagram, just an architecture diagram. Architecture diagram, let's see. In this architecture, this is Angular. Okay. This is, yeah, the basic architecture. Yeah, this is what we are going to design. We will handle this one, a dynamic site, right? That means we will manage the data in database. We get a server-side web application. This server-side web application will communicate with the database. This server-side application also can have HTML templates, right? Serving those HTML templates. And this is requested by web server. And on the client side, we will use React. On the client side, we will use React to communicate with the server-side application. Client-side React app communicates with server-side application. And server-side application is going to communicate with the database. This is the basic architecture, right? This we are going to implement now. This we are going to handle, right? Let's see how we can do this. First, we need to keep the database ready. We need to keep the database ready. So what you do is first download and install MongoDB database server on your PC. You can download and install MongoDB database server. I will give direct link. This is MongoDB server here. I will copy this direct link. This is the MongoDB here. You see, the MongoDB is a complete cloud environment. In this, we are just using database. We are just going with database. And you see here, You can download for any operating system, right? You have for all operating system services here. So you download this. For Windows package, MSI file is installer, just like Node.js you have installed, just 2-3 steps enough. And very important is, while downloading, after installing and downloading, so here make sure that you selected MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Atlas, Compass, so many are there. Compass is enough for us. It will ask automatically, do you want Compass? You select that MongoDB Compass. Actually, it is nothing but, so which is a GUI tool for working with the database. To work with database, it's a GUI tool. Actually, to work with database, you need language, SQL, PL/SQL. MongoDB is JavaScript based. So you have GUI tool. Without knowledge of any language also, you can easily handle. Visually, you can create database, tables, everything you can manage. But people who learn MongoDB, they know commands. By using commands, they manage the database and all. You can visually do that by using this server. Okay. What we have to do is, first step, I will show you. You download and install MongoDB with MongoDB Compass. Now you can show here, see, open MongoDB Compass, and here connect with MongoDB server. So using this is the MongoDB connection string, MongoDB :/127.0.0.1.27017. This is the standard connection string for MongoDB. Through any technology, if you have to connect with MongoDB, this is the connection string you need. Java, .NET, PHP, Python, any technology can connect with MongoDB, but they need a connection string. I hope you know that every database uses a connection string. And you can get the list of all connection strings in the world in this website, connectionstrings.com. Connectionstrings.com, it is a repository. You can see it will show the list of all databases in the world and their connections. So the list of all databases in the world and their connections. This is all. That means all databases. Because see, if you show a lot of experiences, right? Suppose you say 7 years experience, 8 years, 10 years experience. Sometimes to test your level of experience, they will ask that I have some data in a Excel file. Can you read that and show in React.js? That is asked because some companies maintain their data in an Excel file. You can store data in Excel. Excel is used for database. Then they will ask, right? They will say that my data is in a text file separated with commas. We call it as CSV. CSV is nothing but, suppose you simple point. They say that we have Google Contacts, phone book. You have your phone book. You export the contacts in phone book. They will be saved with extension .csv. You know, they will be stored with extension CSV. That means a CSV file is present in your device. You have to read that CSV and show the list of contacts again. That is the task. That means list of contacts must be imported from the file. That you have to do. That means don't think that every time you will be asked with connect with this database, that database. Sometimes there will be so complex that they can ask like how to generate a PDF document. Suppose you designed a ticket and you designed a bank statement. They say that this bank statement is in a table form. this table must be converted into PDF. These type of tasks are very commonly given, right? That means when you go to companies as an experienced person, after you cracked your interview also, means I am telling general scenario, you cracked React interview, you are selected, you went to company, and in the company immediately you are not assigned to project. I hope you know this. That means project manager will talk to you till that moment you are not assigned into project, and project manager may not talk to you immediately. It may take even 2-3 months. Do you know? Sometimes it may take 2-3 months. During these 2-3 months, what they will do, they will give you KT, right, about the project, and what your lead will tell, that you do these designs, you practice these designs, so that he can understand how much level of work experience you have, are you able to do it or not. And after that, they give you some practice designs. They say that design this, design this, design this, you have to work on them. After 2 months or 3 months, so project manager may call you and he will talk to you, and there he can decide that whether you will continue or you will go out. Because if project manager is not satisfied with your skills, you are gone. I hope you know this. That means he says that even you worked for 2 months, right? He says that how you taken this person, I am not satisfied with his skills. Because he is the person who have to decide into which project area you need to be kept. Then he says that this person is not having great skills. No, he will not fit into our project. Send him. Gone. You are gone then. If you can prove your skill, right, then if he is satisfied, okay, you have such experience, then he will say that, okay, your role will be this from tomorrow. Right? That is the reason even you cracked interviews. I hope all you people know that you worked for 2-3 days until or 2-3 months, until or unless you are assigned to a project, you are not guaranteed. Right? That is what actually these backdoor people will play games with you. Nah? Some people say backdoor and all these are all nonsense. Why? Because backdoor means all these things will happen. That means they take money, they send you a backdoor, and after 2 months, they will say that this you will not fit into our projects. You need more better skills. Go out. Then, right? So people are making money, bluffing people. So freshers are fell into these kind of traps, right? So even you have 5 years gap, frankly tell that startup companies will take you as a fresher, right? Don't fake your experiences. These are all not great. You can't work, first of all, right? Even you fake your experience, you can't work. It's not easy, right? Don't do that. Even you have 5 years gap, 10 years gap, these days companies are satisfied. They say that you have good skills, 5 years gap, no problem, fresher. Right? Once you get to 1-2 years experience work, then it's okay, you can continue. Right? But don't try to fake and all these things. That will never happen. You can't survive. You can't survive in companies, first of all. That is the point. Right? You may get into that, but you can't survive. So here, every database connections are very important to understand. Every time, don't think that you will be asked only to connect with MongoDB or MySQL. Sometimes they ask MySQL, sometimes they ask MongoDB, Oracle. Once you know one, others also similar, just you need to know their drivers, you need to know their connection strings, then you can easily communicate. Right? I will show some ideas, I will give you. Here we will use MongoDB and its connection string is this standard. right? Let's see how to do that. First, what you have to do is uh, make sure that go to your services. After installing MongoDB, you have Windows services. In Windows services, make sure that database server is running, because sometimes you install database, but database server may not be in running state. If it is not running, then it will not work. Go to services. Here in services, you will see MongoDB. Yeah, you will see MongoDB server is currently running. Sometimes this MongoDB server is stopped. You have to start, right? Make sure. Why it will stop? So many technical reasons will be there, because some other servers running on your server, they may stop other servers. Due to that, you have to manually start, or you can keep it automatic start, so that every time your computer starts, it will start. So this, you make sure that MongoDB server started first. Okay, then after starting, open MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Compass is a GUI tool. This is a GUI tool. You can see this is MongoDB Compass, and this is the GUI tool. In this tool, what you have to do is, here you have to just connect by using the connection string. The connection string is, so MongoDB :/1270001:27017, and you click on connect. It connects with the server. Once it connects with the server, everything is visually available. Actually, we need commands, but without commands, you can usually manage. So here, you first, what we have to do after connecting, right? So next step, create a new database. Here, some terms I will tell you first. Some terms I will tell you. Generally, so in suppose Oracle or MySQL or SQL Server, and in MongoDB. Actually, in Oracle, we have database. Here also we call as database. In Oracle MySQL, you will have table. You will have table. Here we will have collection, no tables. Here we don't have table. Collection is used as a table. Table means collection. And usually table contains records. Here table contains documents. It contains documents, and it contains fields. Here also it contains fields. It contains joins. Here it contains embedded documents. We call embedded documents. Means object in object. Remember, MongoDB is completely JSON based, JavaScript based, right? So here, these are the terms actually. So first, what we have to do, we have to create a new database. How to create database? Just go databases and click on create database. Simple database name. I will give the database name as ReactDB something. Any name, ReactDB. Collection name, TBL users. Means what table you want. You can add later so many tables. I will give table name TBL users. Any name you can give, right? This is database name. This is table name. Create database, and database is created here called TBL users. Refresh. Yeah. You can see, you will get this TBL ReactDB, and open this ReactDB, and in that you will have TBL users. So database is ready, table is ready. In the table, what you want? Fields. You have to design. That means, so create database. I given database name ReactDB, and here we have collection name. Collection name I given as TBL users. We will create a registration form. Registration login form we will create through React with the database. So for that we will use this one. And after that, what we have to do, insert document into table. By default, I will insert one document. So others we will send from registration form. Okay. So how to do that? Open this TBL users, add data. If already data is in JSON file, you can import it, or insert document. Insert document, every document is in JSON style. That means here data is stored in a JSON format. So that means user ID. Suppose John underscore NIT. Then username is some John. Okay, next. So that is password. Password is some John @11. Okay. And another option here, suppose age is some 22, some number I given. Another one is some mobile is also some string, some +919876543210 something. Now here another on subscribe is a boolean. That means we will use true or false. That means we will use switches and all for subscription and all, right? So subscribed true or false, right? That's we are giving. Now here, these are the details we mentioned. So defined. Okay, and we have to just click on insert. The record is inserted. This record is inserted. That means insert a document like this into table. Here table is called as collection. You have to do that by using add data and insert document. Insert document, you can do this, right? So database is ready, table is ready, and data is ready. Now we have to communicate with this, and we need to fetch this and return to client. We need to create a server-side application. So that means as of now, this is enough. Database is ready. That means we kept data in a real database. Now we need server-side API. We need to create a server-side API. For that, we need Node.js and Express. By using Node.js and Express, we will learn how to create an API. This API will communicate with the database. Actually, what API contains, we have to create API methods like get users, right? This is on which request? Get request. That is on get request, get users. And on get request, here get users / user ID. That means based on user ID, we can get specific user. Similarly, we have post. So we have register user. This will able to insert the data into the database. This we will design first. These requests we will create. That means server side, we have to create these API requests. One get users will communicate with MongoDB, get all the users list and display, right? And it should send, remember, all this should send in JSON form, right, to client. That means now actually we have to create HTTP : some local host, some port number / get users. This is our local APIs we are creating. Then this we can consume in our React and we can interact with that. That we'll see next session, right? Monday. In Monday session, we will learn how to design APIs. So if you learn how to design API, then we can consume APIs in React. This is complete end-to-end application, end-to-end integration. First, we will create a registration form. Later, we can implement others. Register, login, cookies. So if registered successfully, then login. If logins with correct credentials, then give access to certain resources. And until he signed out, keep him signed in. That means use cookies. This entire cycle we will maintain. For that, we will create one good example, complete site example, right? That we'll see next session, right? Monday we will see this. Up to this, try database and all. Then we will work with APIs in the next session. Okay, right?